Right. So let's begin by sitting up nice and tall, taking a moment here to watch the breath, calm the mind down, coming into the present moment. A couple of deep breaths here. And as always, let's begin with our prayers. Om. Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Shri Saraswatyai Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahmavidvaram Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Pada Shankaram Loka Shankaram Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Right. So till last class, we saw what are the sixfold wealth. We have seen three of those, right? So we started with the four important qualifications that a seeker must have. First one was viveka, or the ability to discriminate. Second one was vairagya, or the dispassion or detachment. Third is the sixfold wealth, inner wealth. Out of the six inner wealth, we have already seen three in the previous class. The first three are shama, which is mind control, dama, which is the control of the senses, and uparama or uparati, which is the automatic withdrawal of senses. So these three we have already seen in detail in the last class. Now we will continue with the other three of the sixfold inner wealth. All right. So we will see what is the next one. Share. So the next of the sixfold inner wealth is titiksha. Titiksha ka shitoshna sukha dukkhadi sahishnutvam. So titiksha is the shitoshna sukha dukkhadi sahishnutvam. So this is what titiksha is. So titiksha means forbearance. The actual translation of titiksha is forbearance or even tolerance, if we can say that. Tolerance of what? Sitoshna, sukha, dukkha, adi. Sitoshna means extremities of the temperature, like heat and cold, isn't it? And sukha, dukkha, the happiness and the sorrow. The tolerance of all this, finding an equanimity in all these situations, is called titiksha. So here we don't bother too much about finding equanimity when good things happen to us, right? So we don't question when good things happen, when things are all going perfectly. At that time, we are okay. Things go on for us well. We are at we have a very nice disposition. We don't grumble. We don't do any such things. But when we undergo any sort of disturbances or any sort of inconveniences, be it big or small, that is when we start grumbling and protesting and complaining and whatnot. We do all that. So titiksha is when we have the mental capacity to face all these uncertainties, these upheavals, the inconveniences without complaining. That is what titiksha is. All right. So here there are the main type of inconvenience that we undergo is one is physical, where either it's too hot. Definitely in summer, we're like, oh, it's so hot, it's so hot. We keep complaining. Last year it was not this hot. This year we are sweating buckets. The global warming is happening, all this we say, isn't it, physically? And then when we have diseases, be it minor diseases or sometimes major diseases also, all these times we undergo physical distress, physical inconvenience. Second thing is when things are situational. when things are not going around, things are not happening properly around us. Like, for example, it may be a job situation where we are not happy with the job that we have, or any financial crisis that we may be facing, or that we have to put up with someone, we have to live with someone, even though we totally don't want to be around that person at all. So all these are situational. So be it physical or be it situational, the ability to just see it, accept it, and not complain too much about it is called titiksha. And why should we cultivate this quality? One of the most important things that titiksha gives us is the ability to conserve our energy, isn't it? The more we focus on what is not right around, the more we talk about it, the more we complain about it, the more we go on saying like, oh, you know what, nothing is happening right in my life, nothing is going as per my plans, I'm just having, problems after problems in my life, I have no peace of time. The more we go on saying this over and over again, the more we lose our mental peace and energy, isn't it? We are not focusing on all the other wonderful things that is happening already around us. So that is one of the important reasons why we must cultivate this quality of titiksha. See, everybody grumbles, okay? Nobody is perfect. Nobody is like a super saintly and says, ha, come what may, I am happy. I am not bothered about all this. Of course, we will be bothered about it. But to what extent are you going to let it affect you? That is the important question that we should focus on. All right. And the second thing that titiksha helps us is, it helps us become solution oriented rather than problem oriented, isn't it? Everybody has problems. So what do we do about it? What next? When we start asking that, then we won't be complaining about the existing situation. So in these two ways, that is, one is conserving the mental energy, and second is making us solution oriented, is what development of titiksha inculcates in us. So you all know this famous saying, no? Oh Lord, give us the Alcoholics Anonymous, they have this prayer. Give me the courage to change things that I can and accept and help me accept that which I cannot. Isn't it? So that is the essence of titiksha in a nutshell. And another thing that we must remember is when things are not going well for us. Everybody has problems in their lives, okay? Nobody can say 100% of the time I'm 100% happy. There is nothing in my life that is causing me any disturbances or inconveniences or anything like that. Everybody has problems, but the way people face the problems is only going to define their degree of happiness, isn't it? So let us all just build that titiksha within us to face all these small pinpricks in life and help us sail smoothly. Here I have to mention one very beautiful example that Guruji gives. Okay, Guruji Swami Tejamayananda says, titiksha is like the shock absorber in our lives. See, just like how in a vehicle, we have shock absorbers, right? The roads are not always even. Obviously, there is going to be ups and downs. There is going to be a bumpy road. There is going to be a no road. All this is going to be there whenever a vehicle travels. But the shock absorber ensures that the ride is smooth irrespective of the condition of the road, isn't it? We can't always go on like say, oh, always be smooth, it should always be perfect, only then my life will be perfect, I will have a smooth road. That is not possible. But just adding a shock absorber automatically makes the ride smoother, isn't it? So Guruji says titiksha as the quality is like a shock absorber in our own lives, which helps us have a smooth ride irrespective of the physical or situational disturbances or discomforts that is anyway going to come in our lives. So that is one very beautiful thing that Guruji says. And another thing that Guruji says as to how to practice titiksha is, he says stop putting commas, use full stop. For example, he says, oh, it is so hot, I'm feeling very tired, why is the AC running all the time, I have to pay so much electricity, I have to constantly keep drinking water, I'm not able to do any work because of this heat. If I were in Switzerland, then I would not be facing all these problems. Instead of doing all this comma, he says, it is hot, put a full stop. That's it. Accept it and then move on. Don't waste Your mental energy is in constantly adding commas to the problem. We all know it is there anyway, right? So let us just accept and move on. That is what this inner quality of titiksha is all about. This is the fourth of the sixfold qualification. Now we will move on to the fifth one. All right. Okay, so what is the fifth of the sixfold qualification? Yes, shraddha. Shraddha is the fifth of the sixfold inner wealth. Shraddha kidrishi. Guru Vedanta Vakyadishu Vishwasaha Shraddha. Let me repeat one more time. Shraddha kidrishi. Guru Vedanta Vakyadishu Vishwasaha Shraddha. All right. So, yes. So, Shraddha simply translates as faith. All right. So, Rabindranath Tagore has written a beautiful line about faith. He says, faith is the bird that sings in joy when the dawn is still dark. All right. So, we all carry on with our life with the simple faith that, okay, in night, if I go to bed tonight, I'm going to wake up tomorrow. That is the basic faith with which we are learning our life, isn't it? So faith is something that is making this world go around. We have faith in something that we don't know, because what we already know needs no faith, isn't it? We all know 2 + 2 = 4. That doesn't call for faith. Faith is always on something that we don't know. So here, the context of faith is said from the point of a seeker, where it is being insisted that the seeker should have faith in the words of the guru and in the proclamation of the scriptures. Why? Because a seeker is seeking the ultimate knowledge, isn't it? We saw this in the first class itself. We are seeking the knowledge about our own self, which is a very, very, very subtle subject, which is highly subjective, which cannot be put out in black and white, like say, like do 1, 2, 3, 4, and then there you are, you have reached your destination. It is not like that, isn't it? It requires constant practice, constant recalibration of our own inner world for us to stay consistent in this seeking. So in this path, especially, the guidance of the guru is very, 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 very important. A guru is not, see, now everybody says they are a guru, right? Marketing guru, this guru, that guru. But a guru is someone who has realized himself. A realized master is whom we call as a guru. He is someone who has already traveled the path and has reached the destination, and it is there as a guide for others to come and reach the same place, isn't it? To have faith in him is very, very important. And the second thing is faith in scriptures. The guru has reached that destination by following the road map, or that map, which is the directions given by the Vedas. So we have to have faith in that also. One important thing that we have to understand here is the difference between faith and belief. Okay, so belief is something that is mostly blind. It doesn't require any intellectual conviction. We all have certain beliefs, especially we have beliefs around our religion, caste, belief around identities. All these are already there, and mostly belief is based on very rigid values, very rigid outlook. That is what belief is all about. And having blind belief is often more detrimental to us, because that does not allow our mind to think from other perspectives too. It is always from a standpoint of I am right, you are wrong. Mostly belief is from that perspective. But faith here means having an intellectual conviction. All right. So we have to first be intellectually convinced about what we are placing our faith on. And it has always been the tradition in our culture that we are always open to question. We are always open to discussions. Even this whole text, Tattvabodha, is also in the form of a question and answer, right? We are always encouraged to ask questions, not questions like you know how we say in Tamil, kudarkama kekama. Genuine questions are always encouraged. Different viewpoints are always encouraged. That's why even in our own Hinduism, we have Advaita, we have Dvaita, we have Vishishtadvaita. We have so many schools of philosophies. and everything has a place in it. But the thing is, we should have faith in any one thing and we should continue to stick on to it. We should not constantly keep doubting the path that we have chosen, because then there is no end to the doubting that we will have, right? So faith is having the intellectual conviction and placing that faith on the right person, right guru, and on the scriptures. And here it is most important, in a very simple way, if we can say who a right guru is, it is someone who is not expecting anything from us. Isn't it? I'm sure many of you would have a guru in your life. The gurus don't expect anything in return from us. They don't want us to give donations. They don't want us to do propaganda for them. Nothing. They just keep giving that knowledge so freely, with so much love, and all that they want is for us also to find the joy that they have found. That's their only wish, I may say. That is also not an expectation, isn't it? And they are always accepting us as we are, with all our flaws, with all our plus and minus. They accept us as we are, and they treat us with love without any expectation from us. So that is the most important way to, find out if that guru is genuine. See, we don't have the capacity to judge whether a guru is genuine or not. But the current situation is such that so many people post themselves as guru and scam so many people. I'm sure we all are pretty sane in that aspect, but it is important to place the faith on the right person. So this is about shraddha. Why shraddha is important is, if we go on doubting, if we go on questioning, not in the right way, but go on questioning, oh, whether what am I doing is right? Is that path better than this path? Should I chant this mantra or that mantra? Should I follow this god or that god? Should I do this yoga asana? Should I do that yoga asana? Should I practice this pranayama? Or if you go on doubting, no, then there is no end to it. Somewhere you should choose, okay, ABC is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to stick on to the directions given by my guru, and I'm going to do it with full faith. Only then we'll be able to reach the destination. See, we can reach Delhi by going via Mumbai. We can reach Delhi by going via Calcutta. We can even go straight from Chennai to Delhi. So many paths are there. But we can't constantly say, oh, this path is better, that path is better. Should I go to Calcutta? Should I go to Mumbai? Or should I directly go? If we go on doing this, no, then we will never reach Delhi in our life. We will only be roaming around constantly. So that is why faith is very, very important. All right. So that is the fifth of the sixfold qualification. And we have come to the last of the sixfold qualification. And that is called Samadhana. All right. System is a little slow. Kindly adjust. Yes. Samadhanam kim? Chitta ekagrata. That is, the single pointedness of the mind is called Samadhana. All right. So Samadhana means peace, right? In our common parlance, we say Samadhana means peace. So what gives peace? When the mind is quiet, we are automatically experiencing peace. When the mind becomes quiet, when it is not running in 1,000 different directions at the same time, rather it is focusing on a single thing at a given point of time. So this is called Samadhana, which is single pointedness of the mind. So this Samadhana is very important even in our everyday. I mean, all these qualifications are important in our day-to-day life, especially so for a seeker. But how this Chitta Ekagrata is very important is when we have a clear goal, all right, in our life, saying like, okay, 5 years down the line, this is what my life should look like. I'm not talking from a very corporate-ish point of view, but also from a very practical point of view. We all have some financial goals. We all have some health-related goals. We all have some relationship goals, isn't it? If not goals, at least we wish things were like this, right? If we were able to articulate it clearly and work only towards that, then automatically so many unwanted things move out of life. All right. So in that way, the Samadhana, the Chitta Ekagrata is very, very important. For example, I used to run triathlons, right? So when I was training for that, Yeah, and Soumya has been with me when I was training. So it was, you had to train for two things at a time. You have to run and swim, or cycle and swim, or, run and cycle, blah, 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 so that your body gets used to the transition, right? And at that time I was working full time too. So I have to be in the office by 8:30 and all. So I used to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning, finish my training, and then do all other work that I had to do and go to office, work, come back. So during that 6 months of training, my mind was only focused on that particular goal, and nothing else was, taking any importance in our lives, isn't it? And we all would have experienced it. We all would have had something like this happening in our lives, where we were so focused, so intense on achieving that particular goal, that automatically everything else fell away. At that time, you wouldn't feel like, oh, I'm missing that movie, I didn't go to that party. You don't even think along those lines, because if you go for that movie that night, your training is going to get messed up. If you go to that party and if you stay up late, your training is going to get messed up. So then at that time, you don't feel bad about letting go of things that are not serving you to achieve that goal, isn't it? There's just a small example. We all would have experienced this in our life. In that way, when we have a proper goal, when we prioritize things properly, automatically the mind gets focused effortlessly, isn't it? So here, but the ultimate goal that we all are trying to achieve through this exercise is liberation from sorrow, isn't it? That's the whole purpose of this study also, isn't it? When we are very, very focused on that lofty goal, and when we place the faith in our guru and the scriptures, and when we cultivate titiksha, shama, dama, uparama, and all these things we automatically cultivate, then the mind easily becomes single pointed. It doesn't get agitated by the ups and downs that are happening on our life. Of course it will get affected, but it will not be in a yo-yo state for a very long time. It will not be like wavering for a very long time. It will easily come into a state of steady equipoise, so that we can constantly work towards liberation from sorrow. So this is about chitta ekagrata, which is samadhana. All right. So with this, I have completed what I wanted to do in today's class. Any doubts, any questions, anything that you want to go through again, I'll be happy to do so. Clear? All okay?
I just wanted to ask one thing, Aruna.
Yeah.
See, you were saying that the first quality or what we have to pick up is basically control of the mind, right? Then control of the senses. So does it come in sequence? Because
no, it's not in sequence. But the thing is, if we pick up any one thing, automatically the others also fall in place. For example, the very first qualification is viveka, right? The discrimination between what is permanent and what is impermanent.
Yes.
If we start applying that, automatically titiksha will build, because then we know this is only a temporary suffering and this is not a long time suffering. So if we pick any one and focus on that, automatically the rest will follow.
Okay. Because I thought, you have to go like the mind first, because I was thinking basically the senses also can be controlled by the mind, right?
Yeah.
If you have the willpower to do it.
Yeah, controlling the mind is the most hardest.
Yes, that's what I thought. But that's why I was wondering, how is that sequence?
No, it is just for the purpose of listing. It is given in this order.
Okay.
All right. But any one thing that we pick up and we call. So if you look at it in that way, having a goal and then following that goal will ensure everything else also falls in place.
Yeah, that's true.
Isn't it? So, yeah. And everybody is different. For different people, different methods will work. So we just have to find out what works for us best. So it is not sequential.
Okay, thanks for the clarification.
Yeah. Glad that you brought it up. Sorry, I should have also told it. It is not sequential. Just for the purpose of listing, they have listed it out like this. If we pick any one of this qualification and work on that also, automatically others will start falling in place. It is just like how we have different types of yoga, right? We have jnana yoga, bhakti yoga, karma yoga, Raja yoga, blah, blah, blah. And people always feel one path, should I choose this path? Should I choose that path? Take any one, but stick on to it. Automatically, the rest will come. And it is like, it is natural, because the mind, by just choosing any one, constant form of practice, automatically the mind lets go of all its dissipations and it becomes peaceful, sharper, and very, very intuitive. And that helps in building all the other qualifications. All right. Any other? Yeah. Any other doubts? Anybody? Anything else that you would want me to go through one more time? Okay. All right. So then we will finish today's class with our prayers. Okay. I think by now you all be knowing the prayer, but I will still share the screen. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.